Hi students, it's Ms.Boley here. Today I'm going to show you how to go from your sketch to this, a beaver habitat made with found objects. Alright, so to get started, I'm going to use a cookie sheet. You can use any type of flat tray. It has these little edges so that I can kind of keep things within it. You could also use a piece of cardboard. And it's not something that you need to glue anything onto. We're going to be disassembling this and putting the materials back into nature. So just look around your home for something roughly the size of a cookie sheet, a tray or a piece of cardboard or something like that. Now I'm going to be using my sketch that I made last week as something to look at while I am building. Now, if you remember, I grabbed some materials from my home. I grabbed this gift bag to be the water. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut it so that it fits properly as like a background on my cookie sheet. So I'm going to start doing some fast motion to cut this piece, this gift bag so that it fits as a background on my cookie sheet. Here we go. Right, you're also going to notice that I am going to tape down the background to make it easier for me to work. All right, now, I don't know if you remember last week, but I created this piece of green paper to look like grass texture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start tracing out, looking at my image, my sketch, I'm going to start tracing out the shape of where I need the land to be. So the blue is representing the water and the green is representing the land. All right, so I've put the sketch up on the screen so you can kind of see what I'm trying to do. And then I'm going to just cut out and lay my paper on top of my blue background just to see how it looks. So now my paper is a little bit small. It doesn't reach all the way across. So I'm just going to try to use as much of this small piece of paper as I can to fill in that extra area. And then if I do need some more grass texture paper, I could just create some more. So I'm gonna go into fast motion and you'll see how I end up filling in the grass area on my habitat. And I do end up taping and gluing this down onto the blue background. So I'm not gluing it onto my tray, I'm gluing it onto my blue background. So here we go. All right, so I have a nice flat background now. I've got my grass. Now I'm gonna start building this dam here. So I'm gonna grab my materials that I gathered from the playground the other day, and I'm just gonna grab those wood chips that I got from the park, and I'm gonna use those to make my dam. So I am not gluing any of these sticks down. I'm just placing them on top of my background. This is a little bit tricky because sometimes I might accidentally bump them and they might all kind of topple over, but I'm just doing my best to arrange them. I'm not going to glue them down because then we can disassemble them later. So no glue, just arrange. So I've tried to make it a little bit three-dimensional, but we're gonna try to make the Beaver Lodge a bit more three-dimensional than the dam itself. So there's two ways I can do this. So I can try to sort of make a little three-dimensional pile of sticks. I'm gonna show an option for how you can do that. So you can kind of just keep layering the sticks on top of each other and try to make it into a dome shape. As I said, I'm going to show a better option for doing this. Another way you can do it is if you have something in your recycling bin that is three-dimensional. So for example, like this is a Pringles container, or maybe like a yogurt container, or an applesauce container, just something that's dome shaped. Possibly you could use that. So I'm gonna just cut this so that it's a little bit better. Those like two pointy things sticking out are not going to be very helpful for me, so I'm going to cut them off. And then this is a little bit too tall for my beaver dam, so I'm going to just cut it down so that it's a little bit smaller. So I'm going to fast forward that part. All right, so now I have this little dome-shaped thing that I can put my sticks on top. So I'm gonna place them all around it, and then eventually I will start placing them. I'm like building up the sides, and eventually I'm gonna start placing the sticks on the top and make it sort of a round, three-dimensional type shape. So let's fast forward this. So what I'm doing here is I've noticed that when I tried to lay my sticks right on top of the Pringles container, it kind of made them fall off easily if they were really long. So I was breaking my sticks so that they're a bit smaller. And then I also noticed that you could really see the white plastic through the sticks. So I grabbed some of those leaves that I took from the playground and I broke them up and I sort of placed them in between the sticks. So this is a lot of just sort of like being careful and placing things carefully. And if they do fall off, you know what, that's gonna happen. Maybe we need to think about a better way of arranging them, or maybe you can break the item up, or maybe you could just choose a different stick or a different item. So here we go. I keep piling on top and creating my beaver dam, or my beaver lodge. And later on, I will show you a view from the side so you can sort of see how this is a dome shape. The main important thing that we want to do with this beaver lodge is to make sure that it is a dome shape, that it's not just a flat collection of sticks like the beaver dam over on the left side, that it's actually rounded. It may or may not be hollow inside. We know in real life that the beaver's lodge is hollow inside. That's where they live and move around and everything. But in ours, it may not be hollow. Okay, so I wanted to show a quick, easy way to build a three-dimensional shape of like a three-dimensional sort of pile of sticks if you do not have a little dome-shaped container or something to put underneath, or if you don't want to do that option. So one thing you can do is you can sort of build a square out of sticks. Okay, so you're kind of doing like a log cabin technique, building up, layering the sticks like that, okay? So that's going to give us our basis for the three-dimensional dome. Okay, so I'm going to keep layering them in a square shape until I sort of get to the height that I want. And then I'm going to start covering up the roof area. So I'm just going to cover up so that it's not a hole in the middle, but it's covered up. Okay, and then I don't want my sides to look so perfectly like straight, like a log cabin, you know, because that's not really what a beaver lodge looks like. So I'm going to start layering some sticks vertically up and down along the sides, or maybe I might put them diagonally just to make it look a bit more organic and more sort of like an animal made it versus something that a human made. Okay, so that is one easy way of building up this beaver dam to make it look this beaver lodge to make it look three-dimensional without having something to place my sticks on top of. I actually found that this method was a little bit easier than the previous method that I did. So you could try either one and see which one you like better. All right, so I'm gonna show you the side view. I'm now just adding some extra little sticks, filling in the little holes with little small sticks. And here is what it looks like from the side. So if I take my camera down from above and I look at it from the side, you can see that it's just a little dome-shaped pile of sticks. Looks great. So try either one of those methods and see which one you like better. Okay, so now that I have the lodge completed, remember I had trees and grass that I needed to add. So I'm gonna use this little twig with these needles on the top, and I'm going to start creating trees. So I'm gonna sort of just lay them down sideways because I know that I'm not gonna be able to make them sticking up vertically without gluing them down. So I'm just going to make a few trees, and I'm going to use cut paper to represent leaves on my trees, and I'm also going to use cut paper to represent some extra texture in the grass. I'm going to use this pine cone also to represent maybe just a bush or something like that. All right, so I've decided to cut strips of brown paper and fold them in half. And then I'm just cutting tiny little cuts into the strip of paper. And I was gonna sort of fold these up and sort of make them look sort of having a 3D effect of dried brown grass. So I'm gonna cut a whole bunch of these little paper strips and I'm gonna arrange them on top of my green area. All right, now I have some of those grassy little things layered on top of my grass background. And now what I'm doing, you can't really see too great, but I'm cutting leaf shapes out of a green sheet of paper like those. And I'm going to arrange them on top of my tree stumps up in the left corner to make my trees look more like trees. Okay, and finally, so I grabbed some more of this gift bag and I'm cutting it into strips as well that I'm making sort of wavy lines with my scissors. And this is one of the awesome things about not gluing down our items for our model, is that I can get this wonderful 3D effect when I don't glue things down. So it's just like what's happening with the grass when it's sort of sticking up out from the paper. I've made the water sort of try to create a little bit of a wavy effect in the way that it's sticking out and the way that I've arranged it. All right, so that is my completed model of the beaver habitat, complete with three-dimensional lodge and found objects. So what I would like you to do, here is some footage of my lodge from the side, just to show that it is three-dimensional. It is sticking out from the cookie tray quite a bit. Okay, so here's a little flyover of my beaver habitat. I would like you to take some photos. Take 3 photos of your beaver habitat. So one from above like this. And if you could take one from the side and maybe one sort of detail close-up of a part that you really, really like. So take at least 3 photos and upload them to the Google Classroom gallery slideshow. All right, and that is it. Thanks for watching.